As the morning sun bathed the engagement venue in a warm glow, Wine bustled around, overseeing the final touches on the decorations. It was a whirlwind of energy, her laughter and chatter filling the air as she directed the florists and decorators. Careful with those centerpieces, they're delicate, Wine called out, her eyes scanning the room for any imperfections. She was so engrossed in her work that she didn't notice the figure approaching her until it was too late. In her haste, Vian turned a corner and collided with a tall, familiar figure. The flower basket in her arms slipped from her grasp, and a cascade of vibrant blooms rained down on both of them. Vian exclaimed, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. As she looked up to see none other than Taehyung standing before her, his eyes wide in surprise. Why and watch where you're going, Taehyung chuckled, bending down, help gather the fallen flowers. His deep voice sent shiver down Vian's spine as she couldn't help but feel a pang of longing for the man she once loved. I'm so sorry, Taehyung, Vian stammered, her hands fumbling as she tried to pick up the scattered flowers. I didn't see you there. I guess I got a little carried away with the decorations. Taehyung smiled warmly, his eyes crinkling at the corners. It's okay, Vian. You've always been a bit clumsy. He teased gently, handing her a handful of blooms. But that's what makes you so endearing. Vian's heart fluttered at his words, memories of their past flooding back to her. She had always been the playful, carefree one in the relationship, and Taehyung had loved her for it. But now, seeing him on the brink of starting a new life without her, it was a bittersweet reminder of what they once had. As she straightened up, Vine felt herself losing her balance and she stumbled forward. Before she could hit the ground, Taehyung's strong arms wrapped around her, pulling her close to his chest. Whoa there, clumsy, Taehyung chuckled, his breath warm against her ear. Vine's heart raced at the closeness, and for a moment she allowed herself to reveal in the embrace of the man she loved. But the reality came crashing back as Taehyung gently released her and took a step back. I should get going. He said softly, his eyes filled with a mixture of regret and longing. Thank you for all your hard work, Ryan. The venue looks amazing. Ryan nodded, her throat tight with unspoken emotions. You're welcome, Taehyung. I'm glad you are happy, she replied, forcing a smile despite the ache in her heart. As Taehyung turned to leave, Ryan watched him go, feeling a sense of finality wash over her. She had poured her heart and soul into making his engagement ceremony perfect, but now it was time to let go and move on. With a heavy sigh, Ryan bent down to gather the remaining flowers, determined to focus on the task at hand. As she arranged them back in the basket, she couldn't help but steal one last glance at Taehyung walking away, knowing that their path had diverged for good. Van took a deep breath as she made her way towards Mina's dressing room. She had been asked to deliver some last minute instructions regarding the seating arrangement for the ceremony. The venue was buzzing with excitement, but Ryan couldn't shake off the nagging feeling in her gut. As she turned a corner, she heard hushed whispers coming from a secluded area. Curiosity got the better of her, and she silently approached the source of the sound. Peeking around the corner, her heart sank at what she saw. There, standing in an intimate embrace, was Mina and a man Ryan couldn't recognize. Her eyes widened in disbelief as she watched them exchange soft words and gentle touches. Ryan's brow furrowed, her mind racing to make sense of the situation. She knew she had stumbled upon something that could potentially ruin the celebration. But she also knew that it wasn't her place to interfere. Ryan bit her lip, torn between wanting to confront Mina and keeping the secret to herself. After what seemed like an eternity, Mina and the man finally parted ways. They exchanged a longing look before going their separate directions. Taking a deep breath, Ryan decided to keep this encounter to herself and talk to Taehyung about it. She didn't want to be the one to shatter Mina's happiness on such an important day. Instead, she would focus on ensuring that everything went smoothly for the engagement ceremony. With a heavy heart, Ryan continued on her way to Mina's dressing room. She knocked softly on the door before entering. Finding Mina surrounded by her makeup artists, all busy with the final touches of her attire. Ryan, Mina exclaimed, her eyes lighting up at the sight of her. What brings you here? I just wanted to go over the seating arrangement one last time, Ryan replied. Forcing a smile. Everything is in place and it's going to be perfect. Mina nodded, gratitude evident in her eyes. Thank you, Ryan. You're amazing. Ryan's smile faltered slightly as guilt washed over her. It's my pleasure, Miss Mina. I am just happy to see you happy. As the maids continued fussing over Mina's dress, Ryan's mind wandered back to the encounter she had witnessed earlier. She couldn't help but wonder who was the mysterious man and what their connection was to Mina. But as much as she wanted to know, Ryan reminded herself that it wasn't her place to pry or judge. Instead, she would focus on her duty. She will, of course, tell Taehyung about it, and he will be the one to confront her.